One of the advantages that we have is we're able to see which photographs are most liked or loved or, are the favorites of our Big Photo Hunt members every week. Because the way it works is we all upvote our favorite photos, and then at the end of each week, the top 10 most upvoted photos by the community, we get to celebrate them. And so the new tool that I'm building is going to help us all as members of the Big Photo Hunt use this data to improve our photography. And then I'm going to show you what the one thing is that all of the top photos have that actually makes them a top photo. Because no matter what, there is a connection, like the top 10, you'll see. Here we go. So when it comes to lighting, the top 10% of photos on the Big Photo Hunt have an average lighting score of 5.8, compared with the bottom 10% that have an average score of 4.6. And just one thing I want to mention here is this is kind of like the Olympics. When you get to the Olympics, the people differ in scores by like 0.10%. These photographs are, for the most part, really good. And so they're all kind of coming in this very tight range. And additionally, we normalize for like the middle. If you're going to get a 5, that's a pretty good photo.
5 is alive! Hive!
A 10 is an outstanding photo. Okay, next up, the photos that are continuously in the top 10% tend to have an average composition score of 6.2, whereas the bottom 10% tend to have an average composition score of 4.8. Enough to show you that composition plays a big part in separating the top and the bottom photos. When we get through this and I talk about what makes our top 10 photos our top 10 photos, one of the things that leads to that is subject clarity. And I think if your composition is strong, you help the viewer know where to look, and then that kind of helps you know what the subject is, and you're getting subject clarity, and it all kind of ties together. We'll get there in a second. Next up, let's go into focus. Focus and detail. Is your photo in focus? Or if it's not, is it purposely out of focus? Is it using focus as that tool there? Top 10% came in at an average of 6.0. The bottom 10% came in at 4.5. Editing is another attribute that all of the Big Photo Hunt photos are ranked on the back end. The top 10% of photos of the Big Photo Hunt have an average editing score of 5.3. Again, things are normalized for 5, so 5 is good. 5 is not a C. 5 is like a good photo. 10 is outstanding. So like if you're getting 9s and 10s on your photos on the Big Photo Hunt in like these attributes, that's outstanding. Photos that were in the bottom 10% tend to have an average editing score of 3.9. Next attribute is color. Color is not just are you loading it with color, but are you using color correctly? Are you using warm tones to create closeness and inviting feelings? Are you using cool tones to make it feel distant and harsh? Which is interesting because of the top performing photos, 41% of them had a warm color palette. Top 10% of photos had an average score of 6.3. The bottom had an average score of 5. We're getting to the good stuff, I promise. I just wanted to share this attribute information with you because I thought it was really, I thought it was really interesting. All right, so here's number 6. Here's the attribute that for me, it's the hardest. It's story and emotion. The top 10% of photos on the Big Photo Hunt had a 5.7 average score for story. The bottom 10% had a 4.6 average score for story. It took me a long time to understand how to incorporate story into my photos. They're still not that good, but you could have a beautiful photo of a flower or like a frog's eyeball, and that's a cool shot, but is it telling a story? What is that story? All right, so now let's talk about the one thing that all of our top 10 photos have in common. This is why I basically made this video. I wanted to share all this with you. This factor right here, it may change your life. Actually, if this next part that I tell you changes your life, definitely put it in the comments. I want to show my wife. Oh, and one more thing that I want to mention here is why we even do this on the Big Photo Hunt. Because we're building a new feature that helps all of us as members, I'm a member too, improve our photos. And this data calculates everything on the back end so that we actually know how to tell each other, or the Big Photo Hunt knows how to tell all of us what we can do to improve our photos. All right, so here is the thing that all of our top 10 photos have. We're able to quantify this. We just kind of came up with this name for it. It's not some genius name, but it's an emotional wow factor. Wow factor is a way that a photo connects with the viewer. Does it take a viewer's breath away? Do they feel something? Do they have a connection to that photo? And as trivial or common sense as it sounds, if your photo does not have wow factor, then it will not be in the top 10. Does wow factor make your photo in the top 10? Probably not. Is there a correlation between all the photos in the top 10 and the wow factor? 100%. And then when we backed into this, all the photos that had wow factor, there were 3 common attributes that created this wow factor. Those are, first, subject clarity. Is the viewer able to connect with your subject or subjects in the photo? Are they actually able to make that visual connection? Did they use light properly? And that's a no-brainer. Photography is light. And then the third is, does the photo tell a story? It's a terrible, silly name, I know. I'm gonna come up with something better. But whatever this je ne sais quoi is, this woo-wee, this, oh yeah, that's what all these photos had in common. I am not a scientist. I am far from it. I use this data to help keep me narrow and focused and know what I'm looking at and how to run the big photo hunt. So take it for what it's worth and take this video for what it's worth. But this, to me, is really important if you want your photos to stand out. Hopefully it's just a little perspective that I can add to your life and day here. Coffee, it beats tea every time. I just don't do tea. I do videos about photography and I do the big photo hunt. If you are an amateur photographer and you want to join the world's friendliest photography community, it's really friendly. Check it out, bigphotohunt.com. Thank you for being here today. I'll see you next week.